Hello students, welcome to DVS Math. Today starting new concept in lesson electricity of class 10th. So in previous session we had discussed related to electric potential, electric current, potential difference and some electrical symbols. So today we are going to the new concept Ohm's law. So here the person called George Simon Ohm, he gave a relationship between the voltage and the current. So as you all know, the voltage is nothing but a potential difference and electric current. So what is that relationship? He did one experiment. He took some cells, or you can consider it as a potential difference of 4 cells. So individually he made a calculation between the voltage and the current using ammeter and voltmeter. So here you can observe the ammeter, voltmeter and the key and the source of cells. Here we have together 4 cells, but before that he used to check the current and the voltage in ammeter and voltmeter using individual cells. So observe here, his observation was like this. If we use one cell here, one cell, so one cell, using that he got a current as 0.2 ampere, voltage 0.4 ampere. In first case, if we use when he used 1.5 volt of one cell, so at that time in ammeter he used to see the readings of 0.2 ampere, voltage 0.4 ampere, and if we divide V by I, he got the constant value 0.2. Next he took 2 cells of 1.5 volt, 2 cells. So when he took 2 cells, so the reading in ammeter 0.3 ampere, voltage 0.6 voltage. If we divide those two, so again he got the constant value 0.2. Again 3 cells, ammeter 0.4 ampere, voltmeter 0.8 volts. So when we divide, again he got 0.2 constant. Again finally when he used 4 cells, so again in current he used to see the 0.6 ampere, voltage 0.12. Again if we divide those two, again he got 0.2 constant as constant V by I. That means here every time if increase in current, there is an increase in voltage, or if increase in voltage, there is an increase in current. And if we divide those two, getting a constant value here, getting constant, that is 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Here you can observe, if it is 0.4 increased, 0.3, 0.6, 0.4, 0.8, 0.60, every time if you increase the value of voltage, there is an increase in current also. So he gave a relationship between the voltage, that means a potential difference, and the current, called as Ohm's law. The statement is like this: the potential difference across the conductor is directly proportional to the current flowing through it at constant temperature and pressure. That means the potential difference across the conductor. Here the potential difference was, it took his volt cells. So that is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. That means the voltage and the current are directly proportional. Directly proportional means if one increases, another also increases. That means if voltage increases, current also increases. If voltage decreases, current decreases. That we call it as direct proportional. Same changes. So here at constant temperature and pressure, potential difference across the conductor is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. So if we relate this numerically, so what we can write? V proportional to I. V proportional to I. This is proportionality symbol, we call it as. So here it is directly proportional, V proportional to I. As you know, if you want to remove the proportionality symbol, instead of that, if you have to place equals, we have to introduce one constant here. So that constant is called as R here. So here we remove the proportionality symbol and it in place equals, so V is equal to IR. Here R is called it as constant here. So where R is constant for given metallic wire. So here R, what we got 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2 in previous slide. So it's the same thing here, that 0.2 is constant. So that constant we are calling it as R. So we are representing it as R, where R constant for a given metallic wire called resistance. Here we are calling R as resistance. So then you can observe here, this is the circuit diagram that you have to practice for Ohm's law. So it is in your textbook. So here, see here we have 4 cells individually, 4 cells, and here we have a wire connecting. Here the symbol, as you all know, this is a symbol of resistance here. So here XY, it is a resistance of R, and it is connected voltmeter. As you know, voltmeter is always connected in parallel. Ammeter is connected in series. Okay, and the key. So this is a circuit diagram. It is very important, and this question is very important, that is state Ohm's law with a circuit diagram with the help of circuit, or explain Ohm's law with the help of circuit diagram. So first you have to write the statement that the potential difference across the conductor is directly proportional to the current flowing through it at constant temperature and pressure. V is proportional to I, V is equal to IR, where R is constant called as resistance. And here we have a circuit diagram like this, so you have to practice. So if we go for next, resistance, let me understand what is resistance here. So here you observe this figure. If you observe this figure, here we are stopping the flow of electrons. We are avoiding, or you can say it, we are resisting the flow of electrons. It is the property of conductor to resist the flow of charges through it. So what we can say the definition for resistance? It is the property of conductor to resist the flow of charges through it. So this is called as resistance. It is the property of conductor to resist the flow of charges through it. You can observe here. Here there is a charges flowing from the cell. Voltage is nothing but a source. So here there is no flow of current here. We are stopping, or we are resisting the flow of charges. If you are resisting the flow of charges, there will be no the flow of charges. If there is no flow of charges, there will be no current. So what we can write from Ohm's law? We can write V is equal to IR. So, or finally you can write, if you substitute here resistance, if we convert the resistance in terms of R, so R is equal to V by I. R is equal to V by I. So what is an SI unit of resistance is? We calling it as ohm, because it is George Simon Ohm. He introduced the relationship between the voltage and the current as Ohm's law. So it is the SI unit of resistance is ohm. So we'll write it as OHM, or the symbol like this. So here it is a property of conductor to resist the flow of charges through it is called resistance. And what is the formula? V is equal to IR. So R is equal to V by I. The SI unit is ohm. So you can observe in this figure also, the second figure, see, we are resisting the flow of charges. If there is no resisting the flow of charges, or so there will be no flow of charges in the circuit. So how we can define 1 ohm? So 1 ohm can be defined as if 1 volt of voltage or potential difference passing across to flow the current of 1 ampere. So 1 ohm is equal to, you can write it as 1 volt by 1 ampere. Just to remember the formula, R is equal to V by I. So R is nothing but resistance, that is 1 ohm. V is nothing but voltage or potential difference, 1 volt. I is a electric current, it is 1 ampere. So 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. And you can observe Here you can change this formula for your requirement. So if they ask to find voltage, you can write it as V is equal to IR. If they ask to find the resistance, you can write VR is equal to V by I. Sometimes if they ask to find the value of I, so we have one triangular, this is relationship between V and I, you can remember very easily. If you want to find V, so take the denominator IR. So observe this triangle, V is equal to IR. If you want to find I, it is V by R. So if you want to find I, so it is V by R. So if you want to find R, it is V by I, V by I. So this is very simple to remember all the formulas of resistance. V is equal to IR, I is equal to V by R, R is equal to V by I. So, and remember here, what is the definition of 1 ohm? 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. SI unit of resistance is ohm. Okay, so that is nothing but you are resisting or you are stopping the flow of charges. That property we are calling it as resistance. So next, on what resistance, if you observe the resistance, you can observe here low resistance in conductors. As you all know, the conductors are the materials which allows the electric current to flow through them, right? So they allow the current to flow through them. If they are allowing, means there is no resistance, right? So if there is no resistance, we can say it as low resistance. So low resistance in conductors. Here you can observe this figure. One is we are taking the metal, another one we are taking the fine ceramic is nothing but it is a insulator. Metal we are taking. So in insulator there is no flow of charges here. There is no flow of charges. It is resisting the flow of resisting it. So that means high resistance in insulators. But here if we consider a metal, it allows the electric current easily. So there is a flow of charges here. So here, so we will say it as low resistance in conductors, high resistance in insulators. Resisting means stopping. So there is no flow of charges in insulators, right? Like insulator, glass, rubber, plastic or some other. So there high resistance in insulators. So but metals, if we consider metals like silver, aluminium, copper, there we find low resistance. So here also you can observe here flow of charges here. If we consider metal, see the amount of flow of charges here. But if we go for metalloid or semiconductors, what we call it as semiconductors, that is silicon or some other like, so there will be the average. Here high flow of electrons means low resistance. Here medium flow of electrons, so medium resistance. Here non-metal like glass or something else, there is no flow of electrons at all. So you can say it as high resistance. So you can observe the wire. You might have observed the wire. So it is a wire, it is copper wire and it is plastic insulation. So here plastic insulator and the conductor you can say. So in this, here there is a high conduction, high resistance in plastic insulation, low resistance in this copper conductor. Clear? So now let me see on what factors that the resistance depends. So number one, it depends upon the length. So here the factors on which resistance depends is number one, it depends upon the length. So you observe here figures. Here there is some experiment done here. So one, we have wires and it is connected to the source, and we took a lead, what you are using, pencil lead. So pencil lead you observe here, in this case the lead is length is this much, but the connection is between this only small length. So observe here, there is brightness in the bulb. So the length is less, so high brightness in length means you can consider it as low resistance. Less length, low resistance. Low resistance means more flow of electrons, so brightness. So come here if we compare to the first and second, here the length is increased, means the connection between the wire is increased. You can observe here, compared to this, observe here length is increased. And if we compare the brightness to this to second figure, here the brightness decreases. That means resistance, if length is here, length is increased, so resistance is also increased. Don't be confused here. Resistance means you are resisting the flow of charges. If there is no flow of charges, the brightness of bulb will be going dim. But if the brightness is more, there will be less resistance. So here less length, less resistance. Here the length is increased, so here resistance also increased. So observe, the brightness is decreased here. So brightness is decreased means resistance is more. So again in this third figure, again the length is increased, again the brightness is decreased. That means resistance is increasing. So in the fourth figure you can observe here, again the length is increased here. The connection between the lead is increased. So again the brightness, observe, the brightness is decreased. That means the resistance is increasing. What you can observe, what you can conclude here is, if length is increased, what happens if length is increased? Here resistance also increasing. Here observe in the last figure, length is more, resistance is more, so brightness decreased here. That means no flow of electrons in the circuit, so brightness is decreased. But here if in first figure length is less, resistance is also less, easily flow of electrons, so brightness is more. So this is how you have to understand what it depends. The resistance depends upon the length. The first thing is how it is depend. It is directly proportional. Length. See here, if length is less, resistance is less. If length is more, resistance is more. Clear? So here if you observe the length of copper wire is different here, but same area. If length is L, here we are going to consider resistance is R ohm. Clear? R. So here length is L, resistance will be R. So in the second case, observe the length is more here. So area is same, but we are changing their length. So now observe, the length is 2L, double. The length is double. But the resistance is also double, 2R. So that means if length increases, resistance increases. Or if length decreases, resistance decreases. So what we can write, we'll write it as R proportional to L. As you know, if you write R proportional to L, it is directly proportional. Clear? The second factor on which resistance depends is area of cross section. Observe in these two cases, the length remains same. The length of the conductor is same, but there is a change in area of cross section. That means the thickness. So in first case, observe, if area is A, resistance will be R. R. Clear? The resistance will be R ohm. But observe the second case, if area is double 2A, resistance will decreases half R by 2. That means there is a change here. If resistance, observe in area of A, R. But in second case, if area is double 2A, resistance decreases to its half. Means it is reverse. If area is more, resistance is less. If area is less, resistance is more. So they are inversely proportional. Inverse, because the reverse connection, because if one is more, another one is less. If one is less, another one will be more. So here it is inversely proportional. So here we are writing it as R is inversely or 1 by A. We are taking, if we take the reciprocal, it is inverse proportional. So R is inversely proportional to area of cross section. So third factor, it depends upon the nature of material. Nature of material is nothing but just whether it is a conductor or an insulator. You can observe in conductor, as I told you, resistance will be very less. There will be easily flow of electrons through the circuit. Clear? But if you consider the same insulator, resistance will be more. There is no flow of charges in that. Here you can observe. Here if you consider a wood. So here wood is an insulator, so there is no glow of a bulb. Or in the place of, if you take copper, so there will be flow of charges, this bulb glows. Or in the place of that, if you consider a glass, so there also flow of charges in that. So this is about nature of material. Just observe whether it is a conductor or a insulator. Conductor, low resistance, insulator, high resistance. So next, it depends upon the temperature. It depends upon the temperature. Observe, if the temperature, if we give temperature to any metal or anything, there will be flow of electron easily, right? So if we give any temperature to the metal or any material, there will be flow of electron, there flows easily. So at that time, resistance will be less and electron freely move through the circuit. So here temperature also one of the factor on which the resistance depend. So here you can observe, when we give the temperature to any of the metal, what happens, there will be motion in the electrons. If there is motion in the electron, it easily flows through the circuit. At that time resistance decreases. So here temperature also the one of the factor, the resistance depends. So now let's come together. So what is the first factor on which resistance depends? It depends upon the length. What is the second factor? Here R, that is, it is inversely proportional to the area. As we discussed, if area is more, resistance will be less. If area is less, resistance will be more. So they are inversely proportional. So we will represent like this, R 1 by A. So here observe, R is proportional to L, R is inversely proportional to A. Together we can write like this. Here R is proportional to L, R is inversely proportional to A. As we have a proportionality symbol, so we have to convert that into equals. Here we are introducing a constant called as rho. Here it is called as rho symbol. So it is R is equal to rho L by A. This is, and if we convert in terms of R is RA by L. So we will cross multiply R into A and L is divided. So rho is equal to RA by L. So it is called as resistivity. So resistance is different, resistivity is different. Remember, resistance is nothing but R. It is a property to resist the flow of electrons. Clear? But here rho is resistivity. So what is an SI unit of resistivity here? So you can observe, what is a formula? R is resistance, right? What's the SI unit of resistance? We'll write ohm. Area means what we consider meter square, right? We'll represent in meter square. Length, if we consider length, we represent in terms of m. So if we cancel m1 m here, remaining will be ohm meter. So what is the SI unit of resistivity here? Ohm meter. So now let's observe the chart which is given in your textbook. Conductors, alloys and insulators. Conductor is the first, is silver here. What is the resistivity of that? 1.60 into 10 to the power of minus 8. That means resistivity is very less here. Resistivity is very less. If we consider a copper, it is 1.62 into 10 to the power of minus 8, where the resistivity is again increased when compared to silver. So if we come like this, so here resistivity is very less in conductors and average in alloys and more in insulators. Resistivity is more in insulators. So what we can write? Resistivity is low in metals and alloys. That means they are good conductors. Resistivity is high in insulators. Clear? So this is how you have to remember conductors, alloys and insulators. Now what is the difference between the resistance and the resistivity? Let us understand, because resistance and resistivity. So here resistance and resistivity, if we compare those two, the first one is the property of a conductor due to which it opposes a flow of current through it is called resistance. As you all discussed here, the property of conductor due to which it opposes the flow of current. So it is called as resistance. But observe the resistivity. Resistivity is the resistance of a conductor of unit length and unit area. So here, as we all know, what is the formula for rho? RA by L. So when if A becomes 1, L is 1, we can equally, R is equal to, here both will be equal, rho is equal to R. So here resistivity will be equal to resistance when area is 1 unit square and length is 1 unit. If we consider area and length is 1, so we can directly equate resistivity is equal to resistance. So that's what they're saying in the definition, the resistivity of a conductor is the resistance. When it will be resistance of a conductor? When it is unit length and unit area of cross section. Clear? Then can compare with SI unit. The SI unit of resistance is ohm. The SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Remember, this is very simple. Resistance ohm, resistivity ohm meter. Finally, the resistance of conductor depends upon length and area of cross section. This resistance depends upon length and area, but resistivity does not depend upon length and area. These are the main three difference between resistance and resistivity. Next, resistance of a system. How the resistors are connected, how these are connected in the circuit. There are two types of connection. One is series connection and the one is parallel connection. Series connection, parallel connection. So let's first understand series connection. So series connection, if we go for series connection, observe the circuit. A series circuit is made by connecting the end of one device to the beginning of the another. See here, it is connected to end, or you can consider it as adjacent together. So one after the other. Clear? In series connection, here we have a battery, plug key, and here why resistance can also consider it as bulbs also. So here the resistance, if it is connected one after the one device to the next beginning together, here calling it as series connection. If we connect like this. Clear? So if you go for circuit diagram in your textbook, it is like this. So here battery, key, ammeter, and you can observe this resistance one after the other, R1, and we are considering it as R1, R2 and R3. R1, R2, R3, and voltage or voltmeter is connected in parallel. So this you have to practice, circuit diagram of series connection. So this type of connection we are calling it as series connection. Series means to one after the other in a single line. Clear? So if you observe here in series connection, observe this. See here, the connection is like this, one after the other. So one after the other you can connect like this. So here in this case, in series connection, one of the resistance or one of the bulb is not working. Observe here, if here this is not working, so other two also stop works. So here what is the main disadvantage of series connection is, if one of the component fails to work, or one of the bulb is failed to work, or one of the resistance is not working, the remaining also will not work. Observe here, it is very clear. So here if one of the component fails to work, others also none, it will not work. So this is the main disadvantage of series connection. You might have seen the serial set in functions or something else. So here there one of the bulb is not working, the remaining the next two also will not work. So that is the main disadvantage of series connection. If you go for parallel, so parallel connection, it is like this, one below the other, and there is a separate flow of charges here. You can here if you observe here there is a, here current has to flow to the first circuit and then it has to flow to the second resistance, but it is not in the case of parallel here. See here, the current will flow for both the resistance together or for both the bulb together. In parallel circuit, the same terminals of both devices are connected together. They're one after the other, but here together. So here current flows together to the both the bulbs or both the resistance. Clear? So if you come to the circuit diagram, it is like this. See here, battery, key, ammeter, and you can here observe one below the other, and current flows together for all the three resistance. So and voltmeter is connected in parallel. So here you can observe how it is. If one of the bulb is failed to work, it doesn't affect the other. So this is the main advantage of parallel connection. If one of the component fails to work, but it doesn't affect the other resistors or other bulbs. Clear? So this is the advantage of parallel connection, but in series not. So now If we come to the difference between series and parallel, you can observe current remains same in series. Current remains because when it is flowing one after the other, current remains same. But voltage varies. Voltage varies in series, or you can write current remains same in series but current varies in parallel, because some amount of current here, where is it going together to all the resistors, it takes the amount of current required to particular resistor. Some bulb takes, like if you consider 6 volt, or some bulb takes 5 volts, like that. Here current varies, but in series current remains same, because the first bulb it takes, after that only it goes to the second, right? So here current remains same, current varies. In series voltage remains same, voltage varies, voltage remains same. In series voltage varies, in parallel voltage remains same, and effective resistance is more. So here how it is more means, for example, if I consider 5 ampere or 5 volt bulb, or 6 ohm and 5 ohm, if I consider 5 ohm, 6 ohm, 5 ohm as 3 resistors, if we add all together, 5 plus 6 is 11, 11 plus 5 it is 16. So if we add all the resistors, the effective resistance will be more. Here RS we are calling it as effective resistance in series. What is the formula for if it is connected in series? R1 plus R2 plus R3. In the same case, if we consider the effective resistance is less in parallel, because we are taking the reciprocals. So here what you write, 1 by 5 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 5. Clear? So after doing, the effective resistance will be less, but effective resistance is more in series, effective resistance is less in parallel. So again, in series current remains same, current varies in parallel, voltage varies in series, voltage remains same, effective resistance is more, effective resistance is less. And the formula for series is RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. But in parallel, 1 by Rp plus 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. You have to take the reciprocals. This is about the difference between series and parallel. So disadvantages of series. What is, already I told you. Number 1, if one of the component fails, circuit breaks, none of the component is work. So you observe in series, as you have observed, if one component fails, circuit breaks there. So none of the component works. So second one, it is not possible to connect bulb and heater in series. It is not possible to connect bulb and heater in series, as it needs different amount of current. Here it needs different amount of current for both. So as you all know, bulb and heater, it needs different amount of current. But here what happens? Current remains same in series. What the current flows through the bulb, the same current flows through the heater, and it is not possible to work together. So it is not possible to connect bulb and heater in series. It needs different amount of current. These are the two main disadvantages of series. So this is about, so today in this session we learnt about Ohm's law, resistance, factors on which resistance depends, resistivity, series and parallel connection. For more conceptual learning, subscribe my channel and keep supporting me. Thank you.